So why don't we get into the main issue of the day, the big news of the week is award shows. Okay. First of all, I apologize. I was going to do a reaction to the Oscars. That did not end up happening. Things just got incredibly busy. And last weekend, I thought, you know what? Am I going to do it? And just thought it's been too long. That story has come and gone. Doesn't matter anymore. But then this week, got some news that kind of makes it seem as if it actually still is a big deal, and it might allude to an even bigger story that's going on. So the Golden Globes are canceled now. I mean, what? Okay, canceled. NBC says that they're not going to be airing the Golden Globes. So I guess as we get closer to the date, maybe there will be a live stream or something. But no, it looks like they were being very nice in saying that the Golden Globes are not happening next year. And like I've said before, in the famous words of Eric Cartman, all you have to do is get one episode pulled and then you're done. So the Golden Globes are gone. In a way, I think that is reason to rejoice. The Golden Globes have always sucked. They're normally seen as the precedent that we have before the Oscars start. And they never do a great job. They never really do a very good job. They've got the weird categories. And I think it might be good that it's gone. But here's the problem. NBC is saying that the reason that the Golden Globes are gone, and I could see this being partly correct, is that they have been in a lot of controversy over the last year because they have a lack of diversity. I forget the exact numbers. I think it is they haven't had any people of color on the board for, I think, 20 years. So, that's not good. That is not good. And so I understand that. I think that there's a bigger reason at play that nobody is talking about. I'm not saying that that isn't part of what's going on, but I think that the bigger reason of what's going on here is, in fact, here I have a stat here. This is just this year's Golden Globes. With few stars and even fewer blockbuster nominees, America pretty much ignored Sunday night's Golden Globe broadcast. Per Nielsen says that the not so nice average audience of just 6.9 million people watched. If you want to know kind of relatively what that is barely 1/3 the size of 2020's viewership of also a very scant 18 million, which had still, the Golden Globes have been doing terribly. The Golden Globes have been doing so bad. It's not just that the show itself is not very good, which it isn't. It just isn't watched by anyone. The awards, the movies that they nominate are not quality. And the way that the show is put out is not quality. And NBC in 2018 signed a 8-year contract. So they're only 3 years in to an 8-year contract. That means that they have to pay out $60 million every single year in order to have the Golden Globes on their network, which is a lot of money to be paying for a show that nobody is watching. And every year that goes by that less people watch, it's an embarrassment. So I get it. I'm sure that there is a section of what's going on here that says that it's a diversity issue. I think it's a bigger issue of nobody caring about these awards anymore, nobody caring about these movies that are being done anymore. And that's being reflected in the fact that NBC now wants to back out of the contract. And if they back out of the contract and they're then able to point to the fact that it's diversity, no one's going to cry foul whenever they say in 2023, sorry, no more Golden Globes. And whoever picks it up will pick it up for pennies at that point. But what happens now? Tom Cruise gave back three? I think he gave back his 3 Golden Globe awards, saying he just doesn't want them anymore. So the notoriety of that show is gone. And so what are we going to see next? I think that the Golden Globes have always been the precursor to what happens with the Oscars in terms of the awards. And now this is going to be a precursor to what happens with the Oscars, because the Oscars is also not in a great spot right now. ABC's contract with the Oscars goes until 2028. And the viewership of the Oscars fell even more than the viewership of the Golden Globes. I mean, they had a harder way to fall. They had farther to fall. They fell in their viewership by 55%, from 23.5 million viewers to just under 10 million viewers. Nobody watched the Oscars. I suffered through the whole thing, but it was boring as hell. They took out the clips. They rearranged the way that they announced the awards. But I mean, and that's the thing, I was a viewer. Most people just didn't even tune in. And I think a lot of people are saying that the problem with the Oscars were the way that it was done. People didn't like it. And I don't think that that's looking at what the actual problem here is. I don't think that the award shows are the problem. I think that the lack of viewership is what's going to lead to the Oscars and the Golden Globes and the Emmys being reduced. I think they're going to not be these huge, glamorous shows going forward. I think they're going to just end up being small live streams that happen, or just these small little boutique things that you can watch on, maybe more off channels, or probably streaming alone. But this whole paying millions and millions of dollars for a show that nobody watches, I think, is just about done. And the thing that is the biggest problem is that these movies that are nominated are trash in terms of what it is that we're expecting whenever we go to the Oscars. Now, you can go look on my channel, which, by the way, you should subscribe. I've got reviews of most of the movies that were nominated, like Nomadland, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank. Mank is trash. Some of these movies are okay. Judas and the Black Messiah is half of a pretty good movie. Nomadland is a perfectly fine movie, and that won Best Picture. Trial of Chicago 7 is fine. Okay, just for context, this is what I mean about what the problem is. This is why people aren't watching these award shows anymore, and this is why they're going to end up tanking. Mank has got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Judas and the Black Messiah has got a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes. Promising Young Woman has got a 90. Trial of Chicago 7 has got a 90. Nomadland has got 94%. These movies don't deserve those ratings. Most of these movies should have been in like the 60s. Nomadland won Best Picture. Why? Why in the world did Nomadland win Best Picture? There were plenty of other things that came out last year that could have gone in its place and are entertaining. They're entertaining for a broad audience. Sure, there's an argument that Nomadland could have gotten a Sundance Prize or a jury prize. It looked very, very pretty. But these are not movies that are going to be remembered for a long time into the future. There's something like we are so far away from the days that Hollywood gives us movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Silence of the Lambs or No Country for Old Men or Juno or Lord of the Rings. Those days are gone. Like there's a huge disconnect between the movies that are being put out for people to watch and what it is that we're being awarded as the top prizes. Again, Nomadland has a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's up there with The Godfather territory. That's up there with Finding Nemo. Like, these are incredible movies that have stood the test of time already. And this one is up there with them. It makes no sense. The reason that these types of movies are winning just does not make a lot of sense. I don't have a reason for why they're winning. It's a little pretentious. It's totally disconnected with an audience. The idea that, the Oscars aren't doing things correctly or the Golden Globes aren't doing things correctly, therefore we should be upset at the award ceremonies and that's why people aren't watching. No, the movies aren't exciting. They're not as exciting as they used to be. The ones that are being chosen don't connect with an audience, and that's why these award shows are doing badly. And if we keep blaming the award shows, then that's not the point. Carson Stevenson says Nomadland was so boring. Look, I thought parts of it were fine, but honestly, in terms of this movie is getting such huge recognition, I've got to agree with you. If we're talking about the best movies of the year, Nomadland is not that. And so, yeah, if we're talking about the best of the year, Nomadland is boring. Also says Mank was perfectly fine, super preachy, but well shot. Fincher's bottom tier for sure. I mean, I would agree with that. It's my least favorite Fincher movie. I thought it was so up its own ass. Like, it just, it was not. It felt very in love with the story, and it didn't feel like it had to engage anybody to actually go along with the story. It was like, hey, you like Citizen Kane? Well, here's some behind the scenes stuff of Citizen Kane, and that's just not. It's not enough to make a good movie. And whenever it ends up getting nominated for best movie, it's like, well, shit, that makes it even worse because now you're saying it's like incredible and it's just perfectly. It's okay. It's okay. But that's the problem. That's the problem. Mediocre movies are being nominated for incredible awards, and it makes the awards seem stupid. And that's why no one's tuning in. And now no one's tuning in, and they're blaming the awards ceremony. So if you want to go that way, instead of actually recognizing that you got to make some more entertaining movies, then yeah. And that goes to like, what next? What's going to happen next? I do think that there's no way that, Hollywood's not going to die. Like, it's still going to be here, but it is currently giving up a large amount of the playing field for grabs. So I don't know what's going to fill that void. Something's going to have to fill that void. And it's just sitting there. And we've got tons of production companies all over the country that can create great content. I think that it's the distribution. It's going to be a big deal. So things are going way, way, way independent. Leanna says maybe it won't be just Hollywood. Yes, I don't know what the answer would be, but I think that there's opportunities right now that if there are people that start making incredible movies, and I think that streaming is right there to pick up the gauntlet. And if there are people who are able to create hugely appealing movies in other parts of the country, and I think that COVID definitely made it so that we can make movies from anywhere, people can make movies from anywhere. Get a deal with Amazon, get a deal with Netflix, get it on streaming, get it into people's homes immediately. And because those antitrust laws, and this is getting a little bit more into the weeds of things, but those antitrust laws that made it so that studios can't buy movie theaters, those are gone now. So Netflix can buy movie theaters, Warner Brothers can buy movie theaters, Hulu can buy movie theaters if they want to. I think there's no way Hollywood's going to go away, but there is a large playing field that is up for grabs for whoever is going to make broadly appealing movies that are, for just a broad audience. And, they can be deep, they can be funny, they can be whatever, but it feels like the bar is just a little bit lower. And I think that, the proof of that is that people aren't watching the award shows because people aren't watching the movies. And that's sad. That's sad. I mean, Hollywood will probably, they'll always be there for the huge commercial movies, the Star Warses, the Marvels, and they do that well sometimes. And that'll be what they're all about. So thank you very much for watching. This is 5 Minute Critic. For me, if you're here from the beginning, this weekend I'll be watching Love, Death, and Robots, and finally going back to a movie theater and going to watch Army of the Dead. Subscribe to 5 Minute Critic. There will be a review of Army of the Dead next Wednesday, and please be sure to come back next Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, for the weekly movie update, and subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for all updates on reviews and movie news.